Welcome to MPI TV, sponsored by Discover Puerto Rico. On this episode, we take a closer look at the data and meetings outlook to analyze market conditions within our industry and identify if we're in a seller's or a buyer's market. Joining me now is Anita Carlisle with MCC Destination Management. Anita, what are you currently seeing in the marketplace?
We're finding that there's an onslaught of just even small meetings starting. But there's a lot of our restaurants and our hotels haven't been able to staff up yet. So they're not able to take those groups right away. It's a lot easier for them to take individual reservations. They can scale up and down. And I'm also finding that there's limited space because all those deposits that were not returned from venue spaces that were booked over the last 2 years, people are starting to try to use them up in smaller events versus like the 250-person event that they booked. And in Toronto, we still can't go anywhere without being masked or fully vaccinated. It's creating a little bit of a different demand on who's coming here. But I am finding that it's a very interesting market because we are getting higher level companies that would enforce that kind of mandated policies. And it's been very interesting in seeing the change. The hotels, they're not hiring back these salespeople fast enough, or these salespeople aren't there anymore. They have taken roles in hospitality and health. They're hiring people that can do more social media influencing, that type of online marketing that doesn't have that bigger price tag attached to it. Still looking for space for 2022. I would actually book that pretty soon, or get out there and start looking at space now.
Anita, thank you. Next up is Brad Dean, President and CEO of Discover Puerto Rico. Brad, as a destination, what percentage of in-person events business are you starting to see?
As much as we've experienced some really difficult times, we're very encouraged by not only the current visitation, but the interest in future visitation. And I think that bodes well for our entire industry. In terms of Puerto Rico, availability has not been an issue since we've been able to manage this effort to control the pandemic. So right now, businesses that are adhering to the protocol set forth by the government aren't limited to capacity. And thankfully, with all of the new product that's come online in recent years, Puerto Rico is actually adding to its capacity and will continue to in 2022 with new hotel openings. So right now, availability isn't an issue, in part because we've managed this pandemic so well. We have to be the first line of defense, and in the travel and tourism industry, we've got to do a really good job at managing that intersection between travel and public health. And so that means encouraging vaccinations, implementing the protocols, and also communicating this clearly and consistently so that planners and attendees know what to expect. At the end of the day, travel is based on a relationship, and relationships are based on trust. We in the industry have to work together with professional planners to make sure that we're building and strengthening that trust so that travelers, planners, and attendees know what to expect. And not only we set the expectation, we deliver on that expectation when they arrive.
And in your opinion, is this a seller's market?
We are definitely in a seller's market. I think right now what we're finding is that as much as we've all kind of endured the Zoom and Teams era of meetings, at the end of the day, those relationships, if you want to call them that, aren't really that deep, and they can't replace that face-to-face connection. Hybrid's here to stay, but I think what we're really seeing right now is a growing interest in meeting face-to-face safely, and we're recognizing the importance of that because we know we missed it throughout the pandemic. So for me, that really bodes very well for industry. It's going to come back perhaps differently, and maybe not as quick as some would like, but at the end of the day, face-to-face meetings are essential, and we at the destination level as suppliers have to work and support our professional planner partners to make sure that we can set expectations, deliver on their expectations, and make sure that we can safely get people back to meeting face-to-face sooner rather than later.
Brad, thank you. And that does it for us on this edition of MPI TV, sponsored by Discover Puerto Rico. To read the full report in Meetings Outlook, check out the November issue of The Meeting Professional.